Well, it looks pretty good, believe it or not. That actually does the trick. Yeah, it was bulged right here, about an inch almost, and you can see I cut it with a saw and then I chipped it all off. I took the inch and basically shaved the inch off the center to all the way down to the end to where it straightens out again. So, man, let's talk about and see what happened here. Yeah, howdy, folks. It's another fun day at the slab. Now, you'll notice if you've been watching at all, there's a car that was on the slab here. It's gone. Yeah, well, not really. It's back there. Yeah, it's behind me. See it back there? Yeah, it's sitting up by the fence now. It's out of the way because a lot of folks said, you better get that car off that slab, young man, or nobody's going to put a building on that slab for you. So, all right, I guess the car's got to go. Meantime, the slab had a bulge in it that was something terrible, and I decided I would buy a saw and a blade and just cut it. I cut about 2.5 inches off the side, but really only need about maybe not even an inch, because that's the overlap of the siding. So in other words, a couple of inches is fine, which is what I ended up doing. But how do you do that? Well, I went to Harbor Freight, bought the cheapest saw they had, bought a good concrete blade that's wet or dry, and we cut almost 24, maybe 30, almost 30 feet of concrete with it, and we did really good. I'm surprised. It came out, measured it, like, it's perfect, leave it alone. Okay, so Tuesday, I think, next week, the building should be here, and we'll see how all that goes, because if I have to put that up by myself, it's going to be, YouTube be from now till next year putting that building. I don't know, we'll see. I'm not really sure what the plan is right now. But the other thing of course, I'm going to need some dirt for a fill back here to get to the slab, because the door for the slab is going to end up on the building. It's going to be end up over here, lined up with the driveway, so it's kind of a straight shot right straight through to where the slab is. The other thing is, of course, where the car is back there right now. You can see the car back there a little bit. There it is. Yeah. There's a door going in there too, so the car can come straight back in the door once the building is up. But yeah, just a lot of money and a lot of work, and some really strange things have been going around. Well, things just go awry. That's what they tell me. Yeah. The other problem was, besides the ramp back here, is I need a ramp back there too. So ideally, I need to put the dirt here, but also there. And then once you get the dirt, then you put the stone on top of that. So you don't waste a lot of money on stone. You do blow some money on dirt. Yeah. But looking down the slab, you can still see the bulge. But what you can see now is, of course, there's also a straight line. And how I did that was I pulled a string corner to corner and measured it with a tape measure off the other side, pulled everything. Also did an X measure to make sure that we're square. And it was off by 1/4 of an inch. And by cutting this little bit off, shaving this off, we're now not even 1/4 of an inch off. So it's like, yeah, that brought everything into perspective. But the saw, I'll show you the saw. It's from Harbor Freight with this blade, and I guess you just throw it away now. You ain't gonna clean that off. Let's go have a look at the saw. We're inside the little teeny tiny garage that came with the house, and yeah, here it is. And yeah, just take a little drill master. I think it was at Harbor Freight for, I think it was like $39 or something. So when I cut the concrete with it, as you can see, it's you could probably get that concrete dust off and reuse the saw, but I think I'll offer the saw to some poor guy that needs a saw that doesn't have any money in his life or something, because I sure as heck don't want to clean that mess up now. The blade was a little pricey, about $20, I think, but it's a Warrior, I believe, or is it? Maybe it's not a Warrior. I can't remember the name of whose brand was that. Anyway, yeah, it's only 7-inch, so it gave me, a couple of inches of depth that I needed, and it cut it pretty good. I did use water with the saw, which it said wet or dry, but if you're cutting concrete, water is just absolutely your friend. It just is. So there's the box there. I even told people at Harbor Freight, you'll never see this saw ever again, because when I get finished, yeah, there it is. It's just going to be nothing but concrete glued to it. So I'm not going to worry about it. I says it'll just be given away or trashed or whatever after we're done cutting, because to me it was just a sacrifice of trying to fix the slab correctly. Cool, huh? Yeah. Okay, I drew up some simple diagrams. They're not great, but it's to sort of, show you what's going on. Like, why did you have to cut the concrete besides the fact that it was, bowed this way? Aren't you just putting the building on top of the concrete? Well, no, not really. I'll show you how this is done. Now, this is old school, and this is the way it's been done for a long time, and I'll show you why it works and everything's fine, and then I'll show you the new code that is a disaster, that doesn't work, and I totally disagree with it, and I think that at some point they're gonna say, oh, you know what, this doesn't work, let's change the layout again, or maybe even change the specifications. But I'm going to show you how the old school used to work. So I'm going to use a diagram here so you can sort of see what's going on and why I had to cut that concrete nice and straight. And some people that have been around these buildings or seen how they were put together will know that the outside sheeting, the plates on the outside, or the sheets, actually go down past the square tubing and actually go over the concrete a little bit, about maybe half an inch, whatever, just enough so that rain cannot chase up into the building at all. Keeps the building really nice and dry. Let me show you how this is working. Okay, so here's our diagram. Hopefully got enough light on all this today. And I drew this up. This is the concrete slab. It's just sort of roughed out. And this is your anchoring system. This is your square tubing. It's a 2x2 piece of square tubing, and a bolt is going to go down through there into the concrete, which is going to be your concrete anchor bolt, which is ½ inch, I believe in this case. 3/8 would be just fine, I think, but there's a lot of strength in one of these bolts. Anyways, here I just sort of sketched it roughly, but here's the sheet, the actual outside sheathing that's going on that building. And you see what they do is they come up on the side of the concrete and come down past about an inch or so, which is what I did. I've still got, and just sort of sketch the pencil over. It's not even gonna, doesn't even write. Look at that, good pencil. The concrete that I've got out there right now has this bow out here, but all this is cleaned off up to about 2.5, down to about here, around 2.5 to 3/4 inch, whatever. So this allows me to do the sheeting so that it goes just down past the tubing and into here. So when it rains, there's no way. The rain's just gonna run off. It can't get into the building or touch this or at all. Now, I'm gonna show you what code calls for and why it's a disaster. You just, as soon as I tell you how they want it done, I can tell you why it doesn't work. Yeah. So now there's a couple of problems, and you can see here's, I just sort of really, real lame on this one. Here's your concrete again, your slab, and there's your square tubing that you're going to be, punching into with screws to hold the sheathing or the building siding, whatever, here, the metal siding. When it comes down, the screws, of course, going to be going in here. There's a ½ inch, again, concrete anchor, whatever, down through the center here. But now they want you to come up to this edge and just kind of leave that extra, 6 inches or whatever, oversized slab. Well, what happens is the rain comes in and gets into here and hits through here, and of course, it's all going to rot. So now they're telling you to put sealant down under the tubing right here, which will help to prevent water from coming in. But this all starts to rust out. The water gets trapped up in here, and it makes for a gnarly mess. In fact, over a short time, it starts to eat into the tubing, and anything metal that's been cut or welded or anything where there's any chips and no paint or anything exposed, you've got water penetration. And if the sealant doesn't work perfect, the water comes into the building. So this is the way they want you to do it now, which is what I just said. Like I told you, I refuse. I am not doing this stupid garbage. I'm just not doing it. Now, I'm going to say that with experience. We did this in Texas. We sealed it here, and sure enough, we had rust damage, water collection, and actual penetration of water getting into the building. So we took the sheathing up and we resealed it right here at this corner of the tubing to the concrete. Again, put the sheet back, and we still had water coming in, and we were never able to stop this problem from happening. The whole idea, let's back up for just a ½ second. The whole idea why they want you to do this is because when you put this concrete anchor in here, it creates a lot of pressure and force, and just sort of, that pencil still doesn't want to mark. Anyway, puts a lot of force on the edge of the concrete. And obviously, if you're right up on the edge, you've got only about an inch and a half of concrete before you can have a blowout or a crack or something form. So because the contractor could put the concrete anchor bolts in too tight. If they do, if there's stress, a hurricane, whatever, it's possible these anchors could crack or even break out of here. So the other idea or the other school of thought here is to put an angle bracket back here and put your concrete anchor back here. And again, bring your sheet down. Well, go back to the other diagram. Yeah, anyway, so we're back on this diagram again. Yeah, and put the angle bracket here, put your concrete anchor here, which works. Again, now you have a lot more concrete here between that anchor and the outside wall of your concrete. Now, the concrete I have poured is what they call fibrous. It has the fiber in it, so it's very, very strong. It's like a lot stronger than just regular plain old concrete. You know, you pay a little more for it per square yard or whatever, but it's well worth it in a situation where you want strength. And so this area here is really the concern. So if we put the anchor bolts in, which we will be, I'm going to be watching the guys make sure they don't put these in too tight, because you don't need that much pressure to, you know, hold the building in place. If there does appear to be any questions or problems, we're going to be putting L brackets back here and sinking concrete anchors back in here if we need to, in order to reinforce the building against any real bad, you know, storm conditions or whatever. But the whole thing I want is I want that sheet to come down past that concrete down to here, so that when it rains, there's no way for that water to penetrate into the building or even get into here. And I don't need to use sealant or be concerned about anything. Nothing is going to happen. Yeah, you know, I think anybody with half a brain or some uncommon sense will understand how much better this works, but you've got this fracture problem of strength right here. And the simplest way, if you really wanted to do a code thing on or something, you'd say, okay, well, put your concrete anchor back here, but retain this feature, because this works so much better. Anyway, glad we got that talked about and over with. Yeah. So, well, we're in the garage right now. Now, if you saw the video a few minutes back, you probably noticed there was a Vevor. Yeah, big Vevor, heavy concrete cutting machine in here. I ordered that and then realized we didn't need, you know, 5 inches. We only need a couple inches of concrete cut. So I switched it over to just buy a cheap saw from Harbor Freight, cut it, throw everything away when you're done, because it's going to be the cost of doing this job. Unfortunately, I tried to stop the Vevor from being delivered, and it was, they say, at least, you know, at Amazon, they said it was too late. It's on its way. You're getting the concrete cutter whether you want it or not. So it's here. No, I haven't decided what to do with it. In fact, there's a gentleman tomorrow morning that's involved with concrete. I'm going to talk to him about it to see if he would like to own that piece of equipment, because to be honest, I don't think we'll ever need it. There is a possibility. Was thinking at the doorways of cutting like maybe a 45 in, right where the doors come down, where they hit the concrete, again, to help drive rain away from the building, so you don't get any pond or, you know, build up there of water that might, you know, penetrate into the building and, you know, bring water out into the floor. These buildings work great that way. They're really good. I've had quite a few of them now, and I've put a couple up. Well, I put one up myself, plus I've had them installed before. The installation tomorrow, today's Monday, tomorrow, where the kit or the building will be here on site. Now, whether it goes up tomorrow or not, that's I can't even answer that question, so I really don't know. It depends. Some crews will offer to do it, you know, and some crews will just say, well, it was just delivery, there's your stuff, adios, see you later. And I don't know what to expect at that point, so we'll see where we get to on that, because I want the building up you know, as soon as possible, get it out of the way kind of thing. And a good crew can put one of these things up actually in about a day. Yeah, you know, there's just, it is amazing. I think it's like usually about 4 guys on the crew, and they just slap it together and they're done, you know. So tomorrow, hopefully the building gets delivered, and we'll find out. At that point, I may have to contract somebody local to come in and help finish up with, you know, putting the building up or whatever. We'll cover that when it happens, and I'll tell you how it all went down after it happens, right? You know, yeah. So anyways, that's where we're at right now. Car's off the pad, out of the way, so there's no excuse to not put the building up kind of thing. And once the building goes up, you know, there's a lot of other work afterwards. So I'd love to just move in the next day or something, but I need to insulate. I've got solar panels and systems that I want to be installing and hooking up to have power out there in the building, plus lighting.
We did a show on lighting a long time ago. I have got to find that contractor or that company that supplied the lighting, because I would like to have 2 of those lights in there. They were 300 watt LEDs, and they were, oh yeah, you know, if you wanted light, you switch those on, you've got lots, you got all the light you need. But the ceiling has got to be insulated, and I guess most of the building needs that, you know, 2-inch foam or something. And I've also been all over YouTube watching to see how other people do the 2-inch foam thing, because you want an air gap between the wall and your insulation, so that airflow can continue, which actually helps to keep the building dry, actually, over time. Yeah, and you don't have moisture buildup, which creates mold, which is, you know, health issues, whatever. So you're better off to help, you know, keep that area clear. So the 2-inch foam will probably give me the insulation I need, but I'll still leave that air gap so the building can theoretically breathe on the outside a little bit. All to be explored, you know, shortly once we when we get to that part, right? You know, so tomorrow's going to be, might be a real busy day for me, but I wanted to get this video out to you. I was actually should have got this video out this past week, but there's been a lot of other crazy things going on around me. Anyway, so hopefully we'll update you after tomorrow when we see what happens here. Thank you for watching Coffee Tools. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the notice bell, and we'll be back with hopefully some cool content shortly. Over and out.